Good morning, everybody.
How are we?
I don't know, it's kind of rainy out there.
Oh my gosh, every time. Every time.
Look at the rain on the ground.
There's rain on the... But there's not rain in the sky. See, Chris? No rain in the sky. It's wonderful out.
All right, what are we talking about today, Miss Mel, for this Eduwalk?
So here we are in the Eduwalk, Mr. Chris. And what
Yes.
we're going to be talking about this morning is some accessibility features and some other features that I have found really helpful when I was going in and visiting some teachers.
Some awesome stuff teachers have been using.
Yes.
So let's talk about these accessibility features since you brought them up. So here's the thing. There we
What?
go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, here's the thing with the accessibility features is I don't actually like the term accessibility. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the term, but I feel like a better term would be usability.
Ooh,
Because
I like that.
these are features that are available to anybody, and people can just turn them on, and it can help different people, whether you have a disability or not, right?
I love it,
just
Mr.
whatever your
Chris.
abilities are.
Yes.
So let's see. How about I share one, and then you talk about something, and then I share one. So we go back and forth.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right,
So-
ready? Go ahead.
Yeah, so one of these, so most devices, whether you're using a Chromebook or a laptop or an iOS device, have a built-in accessibility features, and they're hidden. Most people don't know about them.
Ooh.
Like in iOS devices, you go to the settings app, and then there's an accessibility button that takes you to a whole suite. And on the Chromebook, it's also in the settings, which is in the bottom right-hand corner. You click on like the little battery,
okay.
right, and then there's a little gear icon that takes you into the settings. And one of the big settings that most people don't know about is changing the display so that you can actually make things bigger. That's probably one of the biggest things we're hearing about.
Right.
Is like the screen is too small. The screen is
Yes.
too small.
Yes.
Can we get an extra monitor? Well, you could get an extra monitor, and that's okay. You can hook it up to your TV if you wanted to, but now you're tethered. And one of the nice things about being distance learning is that you can work from anywhere. You can make a pillow
True.
fort, and you can make a little tent under your kitchen table, or you can like
Come
our daughter.
hang with your mom.
Exactly, you can sit on the couch. But if you have a monitor, and then you're tethered, and
Yes.
you're stuck in one spot, and that kind of removes a little bit of the freedom that you have to work wherever you want to work.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So go check out those display sizes because you can make and customize for the person that's using them.
Ah, that's a great one, Mr. Chris. Okay, mine that I have found is Pear Deck. And I know a lot of people have known about this, but it's used for Google Slides in order to make it interactive.
So first of all, let me just say there, Miss Mel, I don't think a lot of people have heard about Pear Deck.
Oh,
So it's,
well.
I mean, it's been around for many years, but
Yeah.
I know when I'm mentioning it to educators, they're like, Pear Deck?
Oh my gosh.
P-A-I-R? No.
No.
Pear like the
Pear.
fruit.
like take a bite. So
So what do you like about it? What are some
Well,
of the features?
there's so many things because I've been investigating. So I went into a classroom and they were using it for interactive slides. So when the kids come in, it's up on the monitor for the Google slide presentation, and then it's interactive for them. So each kid goes in and it said, how are you feeling today? Rate your feelings. And so, you can put tired to wide awake and ready to learn,
Just to be clear, they're not typing this in. There's like
No,
images. And
there's images and you select it on the Google slide and so all kids, then to the teacher, it sends all that data and it shows, 5 kids are really tired. You can click on it and see who it is, but the kids can't see it. So you could bring it up and it's anonymous, and it doesn't show who it is, but you're like, look, our class is pretty tired today. How can we get everybody awake and going?
Let's do some jamming. Because I know what we're talking about. Foreshadowing.
So, okay. So,
Hey, wait, one other thing about Pear Deck.
No, I'm not done with Pear Deck.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So I just wanted to tell you that on Pear Deck, you can do a lot of activities, but we don't have to create the wheel.
That's what I was going to say. You're going to talk about the templates?
Yes! So there's templates for everything, everything. Math, science, social studies, communication, community building.
Social emotional learning.
Social emotional learning. So here it is. Ready? If you don't know about Pear Deck and you're like, oh, Mal, come on. Like, one more thing to learn. I get it. But if you're new to it and you
I
click,
don't get it. One more thing to learn. It's awesome. You're learning about new stuff.
So the webinars, they have webinars that you can sign up for. They have free videos and templates and tutorials. So you just click and you can actually ask a question, and then it has like frequently asked questions, and then it guides you through a video tutorial to show you where to click and how to find it.
It makes it really easy to learn that new thing.
Yes. So you just have to choose the topics. The one thing that I was really excited about was the math. You can enter your own work and figure out, show your work so that your teacher can check as you're going along to see that you're doing the steps correctly. If you're learning a new, formula or system, interactive maps, you actually can submit one. So if you create a really cool packet for like world language or something, I know our students, our Tucker's world language teacher is using it, and it's fabulous. And so you can submit one if you create one, and then they will, consider it and put it in the packets. All right, Mr. Chris, what's your next?
All right, so back to accessibility and usability settings. Another thing a lot of people don't know is we talked about custom cursor in a previous one, but that's actually a built-in feature for many. Not that you can necessarily get different images and things for your cursor, but you can make it larger.
Ooh.
And that can make it a lot easier for the student themselves to manage the screen. Now, besides that, you can also do a couple things with your mouse that will help. You can have a little focus orb, so wherever the mouse is, it can make like a red circle around it, or even trails to kind of follow. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It happens to me sometimes where I lose my cursor. Like, where is this? And I have to kind of shake the entire thing.
Yes.
So this way, you can always find where your cursor is. And then the last thing a lot of people don't know is that you can actually, there's a couple different settings there where you can hover over something and it'll auto click. So you don't have to actually put pressure down on anything.
Really
so yeah, it's really helpful for many students that have fine motor difficulties. So, morning.
Good morning. So that's an awesome one, the fine motor difficulty one. I really like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that.
Accessibility settings for your mouse and cursor.
Okay, done. All right, so my other one that I found this week, teachers were using Jamboard. Oh my gosh. So it's an interactive whiteboard you can pull up.
For Google.
And so if you go in there and you're in a Google Meet, you just go over to the three dots. And if you're on a Google Meet and you open up at the bottom on the three dots and it says Jamboard at the top, and you can pull up a whiteboard and you can all interact. Now, it currently only allows 16 points at the same time. So 16 people can be on the Jamboard at the same time and creating and interacting with it. But they're building that up, they said. So I just wanted to point that out. However, you can create one ahead of time to make it interactive. So here's what I'm going to tell you, Mr. Chris.
All right.
It was the most fun thing to watch. So I went in and I watched we have a work study class in our high school where we teach the kids how to go into a job and, do those work skills.
Yeah. Hey, I want to take that class.
I know. So our teachers created a Jamboard and it was interactive. And so the kids got on, and when they got on, there was they recreated a local restaurant layout with all the shapes and the text boxes. And the kids had a simulation of having to seat customer 1, customer 2. So they said, customer 1 has to go to the blue section, second table. And so the child had to, or the student, who's almost an adult now, had to click and drag it. And it was so much fun to watch.
How fun is that too? Like a simulation, like a game. It's almost like Overcooked. You ever seen that game?
Yes.
Right? Where
our son loves that game. Explain it.
Well, it's a game where you are in a restaurant and you're filling like cook orders, right? And you work as a team, right?
Yeah.
So it's very similar, but that costs money. Where we in our school district, we have the Google Suite, so we
Right.
have Jamboard, and they've created something, and they can really customize it. Overcooked, you're playing whatever
Right.
the creators made. This, it sounds like that teacher took the time to make something that was going to be really pinpoint accurate for the students that he or she knew they were working with, right?
Yes, and what I loved
that.
about it was that they took something a local restaurant, and they found the layout, and they worked with that person, and they created a layout for it, which is brilliant.
Are we
right?
doing the
We're
extended?
doing an extended version because we have a couple more things.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, I just wanted to point that out and give credit where credit's due, because it was just a really creative work. The other one that I saw on Twitter was through an elementary teacher, and she created their classroom, and to build community, she wanted to tell them, how would we design this so if we got back, everyone's comfortable and feeling secure, and it was a real life problem.
Yeah.
You know,
authentic problem. Let's get the kids solving it.
If
Yeah.
we come back hybrid, we can only fit this many kids in the room. This is how big our room is. It turned into a math problem. It turned into a community problem because everybody wanted to be together, but how do you do it safely? Health and wellness, making people feel included. I could go on and on, guys.
What? Not even making them feel included. They were included.
Yeah,
right?
they were making it. They were making their classroom.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Because then when they do go back, they'll have ownership over, we designed this,
That's
right?
true.
It's not imposed on them.
Yeah.
It's we created this, and we know what works, right?
So go ahead, Mr. Chris. What else?
I
What
love
else
it.
you got?
I love that. I just love that whole idea of making it an authentic problem for the kids to work on, as opposed to just listen to the thing I tell you to do.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the accessibility/usability. Other things that people might not know is that there's something called, ready this, high contrast mode, right?
High
contrast
contrast
mode has been around forever. It's gotten a little bit more popular recently because so many other, it has moved out of the accessibility. Well, actually, it's still in the accessibility features on most things, but it comes to the highlight or the forefront, because people have heard of dark mode, right?
Oh, yes.
Because of all the blue light and all everyone talking about like how much screen time there is.
Yes.
But basically, all high contrast mode is you can invert the colors so that there's instead of seeing a white background with black text, you're seeing a black background with white text.
Yeah.
And there's different settings depending on the device that you have that you can manipulate those and change those.
It actually does relax your eyes.
Oh yeah, there are definitely times where I flip that thing on for
Oh my
myself.
gosh,
Again,
yes.
usability, right?
Right.
So that's, I think, is another one that a lot of people sleep on, and that could really help the experience. The entire experience is like, let's see what you, and it's not something that you have to have on all the time. Like
Yeah.
it's something you can turn on and turn off, right?
Yes. Yeah. So here's the last thing I want to say.
Okay.
And it's kind of it's what I've noticed this week, the past 3 weeks. So we're kind of we are recreating education as you know, in this digital world, right? And so if you think about it, Mr. Chris, it took us what, 100 and some years to kind of get it going for us, right? And we've been perfecting
traditional
it.
education.
Yes, traditional education, brick and mortar, right? And every year we're changing, trying, adjusting. So we're 3 weeks in. We're 3 weeks in. So there's no perfection that could happen in 3 weeks, unless you're like a savant at this, right, Mr. Chris? But what I'm saying is try these things. And if you make a mistake, oh well. I loved when I went to back to school night, and I'm gonna throw this out there. One of my son's teachers said, you know what I loved most is that I was fumbling a little bit in the beginning because it was my very first class I'd ever done it. And the kids just jumped in, and she trusted that the kids would jump in because she had created that relationship. And those kids wanted to help, and they felt useful, and they felt part of it. And so they understand because they're learning too. So I love that we're all learning together. Give yourself that time to learn it. The Pear Deck and the Jamboard, they're just tools to use, but they're out there. And you don't have to be perfect at them the first time.
No, it's actually preferred to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. This whole idea that you have to be perfect right out of the box is something that's really from our old style of education, where you took tests, spit the information back out of the test, and now you had this feeling like, well, if I didn't get 100, then there's stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
And you had this fear of making mistakes. And that's completely the opposite now. We're turning that completely on our head and say, no, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes. That's how you learn and grow.
And then demonstrate that mastery as you grow with it.
Yes, and that's for us as the educators working with this technology and this new way of doing things. I want to say one last thing, Ms. Mel, as we get here too, is that not everyone this is new for. There are some teachers out there that have been thinking about this before it all happened.
Yeah.
Seek them out as your champions and learn from them how they were doing it. How did they design things where it was kind of, like kids could go on their own pace already. They were broken up into in the way they designed the experiences that people could achieve mastery starting at the level that they're at. Not everyone has to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, the underpinning of all of these Eduwalks is flexibility. Flexibility is key.
Yes.
So make mistakes and be flexible.
And we just thank you so much for all that you guys are doing. It's amazing. Families, students, teachers, you guys rock. All of you. We're an awesome team.
See you next time.
Bye.